welcome everybody. Mr. Gamer Guru 13 here with my Xenogears video game review. Arguably one of the best games to come out on the PlayStation 1. Probably the best story I have ever played. If not the best story. Where to even start with this game, I don't know. I'm going to start with some story and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. This game was slated to be a 4-disc release. It ended up becoming a 2-disc release because Squaresoft decided to cut the budget and wrap up production and get the game released. Now, that hindered the game a bit on Disc 2 because Disc 2 just became pretty much story-driven, wrapping up all the questions. And there was really no exploration or, you know, really it was just pretty much story and a lot of text. Don't let that discourage you from the game because I think this is a must-play for everybody who is a fan of the RPG genre. Let's jump into some story. Now, beginning out in the beginning of the game, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm just going to give you a little bit of how the game starts out, and then if you want to play it, and if it sounds like you like it, go ahead and play it. Now you start off as a character whose name is Fei Fong Wong. He's your typical anime RPG character, and he soon breaks all those molds. But he has lost his memory. He's an amnesiac. He doesn't remember the past. He only remembers the past 3 years of his life when he was taken in by this little sleepy village of Lahan. And one day, everything's going fine. He's found his place. He's found some friends. He's comfortable in this village. And then one day, all of a sudden, some military units fall out of the sky in what are known as gears. Now these are the mecha right here. These things are called gears. They're mech type machines, and humans pilot them and fight with them. And you also fight with them in the game. But he ends up seeing one of his friends get shot, murdered. He blacks out completely, jumps into one of the gears, and as he's blacked out, he doesn't remember what he's doing, and he destroys the village and almost everybody he's ever known and loved. And that's how it starts out. He is exiled from the village and his journey begins. Now, at the beginning, he doesn't like to fight and he doesn't like war, but he becomes a great fighter, as you would expect. Now, I'm going to show you guys some video game footage in just a second here. This game is rife with religious references, with religious viewpoints. Being a religious person myself, it made me look at my life and existence in a different perspective without changing my views. Now, no video game has ever done that before, so the writing and the storytelling in this game is exceptional. So let's jump into some of the graphics, some of the gameplay footage that I'll show you, and some of the music, some of the best hand-drawn anime cutscenes that I've ever seen in any video game. So let's jump right into that.
Okay, so here we are now in a dungeon, and as you can see, the graphics are presented polygonally, and I can control the camera angle with the L1 and the R1 shoulder buttons. As you can see, I'm rotating it around my character. These are the gears that I was talking about. There are 3 of them with me. You can have 3 members in a party at one time. You can choose from, I think, up to about 8 members that are in your party, but you can only have 3 of them fighting for you at one time. So if we get into a battle here, we'll show you some of the battle mechanics. And on the left, you're going to see a tall gauge, orange, red, and yellow gauge. That is your fuel gauge. And then right above that, you have your attack, your ether machine, which is your magic. You have charge, which will give you more fuel, items, which you can go through and use whatever kind of items you want to enhance your battle, or maybe healing items. And then if you go over, you have your escape, which most RPGs have, like a run or an escape. Then you have your special options, which are healing, or maybe your certain character has a special power. And then you have booster, which boosts and usually gives you more like a haste type ability. And then obviously items again on the next page. But we'll go ahead and attack here. if you can see during the attack phase, you have 3 types of attack. Triangle attack uses 10 fuel, square attack uses 20 fuel, and X attack uses 30 fuel. Obviously, the higher the fuel, the more damage will be dealt. But that isn't always the case. Some enemies are weak to ether, so maybe the square attack would be best. Some enemies might be strong against ether, so you might want to use a combination of triangle and X attacks. But we'll go ahead and finish up this battle here, and then we'll get into the on-foot battles. Okay, so here we are now on foot, and you can see that the characters are presented in 2D sprites. Again, in a completely 3D environment, but the characters are 2D sprites. They suffer from some serious pixelation, but that doesn't hinder or affect the gameplay at all. It just affects the look of the game, and really, with a story this great, the graphics, and with the cutscenes as great as they are, it's easy to overlook some of the small minor problems the game has, and plus that's pretty much just a nitpick. So I want to get into this battle system. This is what separates Xenogears from any other role-playing game at the time. As you can see on your left-hand side of your screen, you have another bar gauge, just like you did with the gears when you were in your gear, but this time it's allocated to ability points. And each character at this point in time in the game has 7 ability points. That's the max you can use, that's the max you can get. And you can use all ability points in one turn, and they will come back the next turn. So there's no need to refuel or charge up or anything like that when you're on foot. You also have your magic at the top here of the bar. Above the bar there's the the circle with the 4 actions that you can use. One of them's attack, one of them's defense, item, and one of them is arcane or magic, or pretty much your ether abilities. So let's go into what sets this game apart from most other RPGs. Now we'll click on attack here real quick, and you got your triangle button uses 1 ability point, square button uses 2 ability points, and X button uses 3 ability points. But if you want to use a combo, you can either hit X twice and triangle once to use up all 7, or there's certain combos that you learn over time. So with Citan here, we will use triangle, triangle, X, and that creates a combo move that will do more damage to the enemy, and it also creates an environment that keeps the game from getting monotonous and boring. Now this enemy will eat you if you use combos, so this is where strategy does play a big role. So you can also just hit X, X, triangle, and won't use a combo, and the enemy won't eat you. But another thing I want to talk about is music. Now the music in this game is great, and we'll get to that in just a second. But we'll continue to try and defeat this enemy, and I'll get back to the music for you in just a second.
Okay, back here now we're going to talk about some of the music. Now, the music in this game is great. Overall, it's really, really good. There are times when there's just, ambient noise, water drops, this and that going on, and it really doesn't give you a good feeling or mood of the game. But there's also times where there's the music is voices or chanting, and it really does set the tone and the mood for the game. But you might recognize some of the music. If it sounds a little bit like Chrono Trigger, it's because it was composed by the composer of Chrono Trigger's music, Yasunori Mitsuda. He's a great composer, does a lot of Square Enix games, does a lot of these role-playing games. But the music overall is great, the gameplay is great, the story is exceptional, the game mechanics, the battle mechanics, everything is seamless and works very well. And I just wanted to give this game, Xenogears, a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason it didn't get the full 10 out of 10 is because of the second disc, but don't let that discourage you. Get out, go and play this game. It's awesome. Thank you guys for watching my review of Xenogears for the PlayStation 1.